Madam President, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. We are at war. We are surrounded by the enemy, and the prospect of escape was bleak. Without realising it, we've invited this comfortable killer into our homes, into our schools, and even our places of work. This unlikely enemy is wreaking havoc on our bodies. Injury rates in this battle have been astronomical, and fatalities far too common. This enemy outnumbers us nearly 2 to 1 in this very room alone. So who you're asking is waging this warfare upon us? None other than the simple, seemingly harmless chair. I know what you're thinking. How can a simple chair cause so much destruction? Stay with me for a moment. We wake up, we sit down, and we eat breakfast before rushing to our cars and taking a seat and driving to work. We sit down at our desks, escaping at lunchtime for a half-hour break, we relax and take a seat at our favourite cafe. After returning to work, we sit down, and finishing at 5 PM, we escape to our cars, where we sit again and drive home. And after all this, because we're so exhausted, we spend our evenings sitting on the sofa watching television. Sound familiar? The World Health Organization ranks physical inactivity as the 4th greatest preventable killer globally. That's an estimated 3.2 million deaths annually. So, what's so bad about sitting down? Well, I think we can split the main issues up into 2 categories. The first being structural issues. Now, the human body, it's a wonderfully complex machine, and when we use it properly, and when we care for it, it can perform at extremely high levels. However, just like any other machine, if we don't use it the way it was intended, and we don't properly maintain it, it can become slow, stiff, and eventually it will break down. Now, sitting down, if done with the correct posture for short periods of time, is really fine. It won't do much damage. But unfortunately for most of us in everyday life, this just isn't a reality. The average working Brit spends 9 hours a day sitting down. That's nearly an hour longer than it would take to fly from Belfast International Airport to Orlando in Florida. Now, some of these orthopedic disasters caused by prolonged sitting include lower and upper back pain, neck pain, and shoulder and hip dysfunction. Now, the second category that these issues fall into can be classed as health conditions. Dr. James Levine is the director of the Mayo Health Clinic in America, and he's becoming an expert in the field known as inactivity studies. Now, during some studies using motion-sensitive, high-tech underwear to prevent any cheating, he has found a direct correlation between time spent sitting and issues of obesity, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. And it's not really that surprising when we think about it, because when we're sitting down, our body's activity levels drop to a very low rate, and calorie burning slows to around 80 calories per hour. Put simply, if we're sitting down, we aren't moving very much, and we aren't burning many calories, putting us at a greater risk of obesity, heart disease, and other related illnesses. Now, if it wasn't bad enough that excessive sitting is causing serious issues to our health, it's also costing the UK economy billions of pounds every single year. In 2016, of the 137 million sick days taken in the UK, musculoskeletal conditions, which include neck and back pain, accounted for 30.8 million of those sick days. And that was an estimated £14 billion cost to the economy, not including the cost to the NHS to actually care for these people who are suffering from preventable sedentary lifestyle related ailments. Now, of course, we can't solely pin that all on excessive sitting, but I think we can safely draw the conclusion that's a massive contributing factor. So, what can we do about it? Okay, so clearly too much sitting is wreaking havoc on our health and on our economy. But what can we do to restore our bodies to the healthy, powerful, vital machines they're meant to be, and to undo this damage? Well, we do have a few solutions. So the NHS recommends that for every hour a day you spend sitting down, you get up twice and you have a quick walk around. Now, I know this might sound like quite a lot and maybe a bit tough to remember. There are actually apps you can get on your phone which will give you timely reminders of periods of your choosing to get up and have a quick walk around. So for anybody who works in an office, this is a great way to break up your time spent sitting and hopefully reduce some of the damage done. Now, another great way to undo the damage of extended periods of sitting is to engage in a daily stretching or mobility practice. And that'll be focusing on areas such as your hips, your lower and upper back, and your neck and shoulders, again to try and undo some of the damage from extended sitting throughout the day. Now, for some of the more passionate among us about achieving optimal health, you might consider investing in a standing desk, which is a little bit taller than a normal desk and allows you to do all your work standing up, and ultimately reduces your time sitting throughout the day. Now, if we want to go one further, we could upgrade that to a treadmill desk, so we could sit, walking while we're doing our work, and ultimately increase our calories burnt through the day, reducing our risk of obesity and corresponding illnesses. So, fellow Toastmasters, it's time to reclaim our active lifestyles, and it's time to stop relying on our four-legged friends so often. The damages done by extended sitting are undeniable, and the links between serious illnesses such as heart disease and obesity, they're crystal clear. If we simply stand up a little bit more often during our day at work, invest some time to stretching and mobility routine, and for the dedicated few, maybe invest in a brand new treadmill desk, we can undo all the damage being caused and prevent it from happening again in the future. So I urge us all to stand up against sitting down and to lay this comfortable killer to rest once and for all. Thanks very much.